Hi, this is Ivy Patterson, and I'm going to share my technology presentation on Screencastify. The reason being is because I was told by my principal that we are to have no contact with students this week. So I was not able to contact any students to join in on Zoom. Um, Also, I have some issues with my computer. I don't have a web camera on my other computer, so I just thought Screencastify might be the best way to show you how my presentation works. So I'm actually going to present a peer deck today, and I did do this presentation with a couple of other team teachers when we did our unit in class on Greek mythology. This is probably one of the first to mid things that we do during that unit time, but we changed things up this last semester before things got really crazy, in order to do a peer deck so that students could be more involved and things could be more interactive. So during a peer deck is basically an interactive presentation where students get on their Chromebooks and they are able to follow along the slide with me, and they are also able to interact with me as I am presenting to them. So as students would enter the room, they would see how to join peer deck and they would join pd.com. And it says Juicy Raisins, Cliff Red Violas. They would log in and they would put in JRLRV would be their code. And then most of the time, the link, I have it in Google Classroom. They click on that link and then they get right in. So this just kind of serves as a reminder of what they do when they come in. They find their seat, they grab their Chromebook, the number that they're supposed to have. We have a system in my classroom, and then they log into Peer Deck. Okay. Okay, sorry, I had a little technical difficulty trying to find out where exactly I needed to go. Okay, so moving on. So here they would draw or type two things they already know about Hercules, kind of a before activity type of slide. And I remember on this slide I got different things such as so a lot of people drew muscles. Some people wrote out the word strong. Some people wrote demigod. So different things that students already know because we had already kind of taught. Like I said, it's usually beginning to midway. And then a lot of times they come in with prior knowledge that they know about Hercules. So just something, anything they know about Hercules, it would appear on the screen for me. And as it appeared on the screen, I would talk about the different things that they drew, and whether or not that was something that was pertaining to Hercules. So it says, let's take a look at an explanation of what happens to Hercules. So this was a very short video that I used to explain what happened in the life of Hercules. Very interactive for the students. They enjoyed it. So let's take a look at this video. Should be coming up in just a second.
Please, I'll lock you up. Hi, folks. You are blessed today to be in the presence of the one and only Heracles. That's Hercules to my Roman friends and the few people who saw that Disney movie. Now, over the years, many have accused me of being conceited. I'm ridiculously full of myself. I had a hard life, y'all, and I earned every ounce of fame with my amazingly awesome awesomeness. Seriously, just check me out. My life was tough even before I was born. See, Hera was jealous of my mom, Alcmene, when she was pregnant with me, since my dad Zeus was, well, Hera's husband. To get back at my mom, Hera made it super hard for her to give birth. When I finally did make it into the great wide world, Hera put snakes in my cradle. Did I whine about it like a little baby, though? Hades, no. I strangled the heck out of those little things, and baby's first rattler. Hera never let my life get any easier either. Seriously, that lady is dark. When I got older, she was so jealous of my growing fame that she made me go nuts and kill my own children. Now I could have pointed fingers, but instead I manned up and took the blame. I even embarked on my famous 12 labors to atone for my crime. Hera was totally behind all the crazy stuff I had to do for the labors, which she assigned to me through my wimpy shill of a cousin, King Eurystheus. These tasks were cray cray.
So as you can see, um, the video is very interactive. I just wanted you to take a small look so you can see what kind of video it is. It's very interactive. The students are very into it. It goes all into the 12 labors and different things. I'm having a little technical difficulty on my computer. I'm not sure why it's freezing. May have something to do with Screencastify. So I'm just going to kind of move on throughout the presentation. But so what happened? This is our first sort of lecture type PowerPoint. What happened? Who did what? It all started with Zeus, who had an affair with a mortal woman, who had a child named Hercules, who proved himself exceptionally strong even as a baby. The affair and resulting child. This really angered Hera, who tried to kill Hercules when he was a baby. Hera put two poisonous snakes in his crib. Hercules strangled both. And here I would pause and I would say, hey, class, give me a thumbs up if you've seen the movie Hercules, the cartoon, the Disney movie. It was even mentioned in the video before. And I would say, what's the difference in the movie versus what we're learning in Greek mythology? And one of the main differences was in the movie, Hades was the one that was trying to get rid of Hercules. But in all actuality, it was Hera, Zeus's wife, who was trying to get rid of Hercules because she was upset that Zeus had another outside child. Hera did not forget Hercules. After he was married, she tormented him. He had a seizure, and the goddess of madness entered his body. In his crazed state, Hercules killed his wife and children. In order to repent this sin, he must complete 12 impossible tasks for Eurystheus. These tasks became known as the 12 labors of Heracles. And we talked about the difference between Heracles, Hercules, Greek versus Roman pronunciation. So here we have I Wonder. This is another interactive PowerPoint that kids on their or students on their Chromebooks, they would see this and they would put something that they wonder. I wonder what's going to happen to Hercules is something I remember that they put, or I wonder, did Hercules and Hera's relationship get any better? So different things like that they would put and we would talk about it and kind of move on. Task one, kill the Nemean lion. This lion was supernatural. We talked about supernatural being not of this world because its hide could not be pierced by arrows. Heracles blocked the exit to its cave and crawled in the entrance. Heracles skins the animal. From then on, all statues of Heracles depict him with the lion's hide. Task 2, kill the Hydra. The king was so scared of Hercules that when he saw Heracles coming with the lion's hide, he hid in a jar and issued the next task. The Hydra's breath was poisonous. Hercules cut off and burned the heads of the Hydra, killing it. And this, I use a lot of movie references. We talked about Percy Jackson and the Hydra and Percy Jackson. And also, it was in the Disney movie as well. And why it was so hard to kill the Hydra was because every time a head would be cut off, then it was like a head would grow back. But not only did Hercules cut the heads off, he burned them as well. Task 3, the Serene Hind. This deer was sacred to Artemis and had golden horns. And we talk about Artemis being the goddess of the hunt. And I compare her to Katniss Everdeen in the Hunger Games and say, they're kind of familiar. They have some familiarities. Heracles hunted the animal for a year before he was able to shoot the animal between the tendons and bones of its front two forelegs. Artemis is angry, but Heracles blames the king and his taskmaster. This is another interactive PowerPoint that we have. It says was Hercules a demigod? And of course, we talk about a demigod not before, but after we talk about what a demigod is. Half man, half god, and of course, with Zeus being the father of Hercules and Alcmene being his mother, then we know that he was a demigod. Um, so they would put it whether it's true or false, and then like a percentage would come up, and you would be able to see how many thought it was true, how many thought it was false, and we would kind of talk about it and go from there. But majority of my kids knew that he was a demigod. Task 4, the Erymathian boar. Had to bring back the animal alive, chase it into the snow, and threw the creature over his shoulder and took it back to the king. The king was hiding in a storage jar as usual. Task 5, the Augean stables. King Augeas had several thousand cattle, and they produced so much manure, and of course we talked about what manure was. Over the years, the island permeated with the scent. Eurystheus sent Heracles to clean the stables in one day. Instead of using a shovel and bucket like Eurystheus intended, Heracles diverted two great rivers to wash out the stables. And we also talked about, how during this task, Hercules worked smarter, not harder. And also how this is probably one of the least sanitary task that he had of all of them. Task 6, the Stymphalian birds. The six labor pitted Heracles against the Stymphalian birds who inhabited a marsh. The birds had feathers of brass which they would shoot at people and kill them with. Heracles could not get close to them, so he shot them with his arrows. This is another interactive PowerPoint or an interactive slide. It says, drag your dot to how you're feeling. And of course, they could put keep going, I understand, I'm a little confused, or stop, I need help. And this is kind of let me know, do I need to go back and reteach some things, or can I keep going? And I'll do this about halfway through. Task 7, the Cretan bull. Belched flames and fire, King Minos wanted to be rid of it. Heracles overpowered it and shipped it back to mainland Greece. The mares of Diomedes, and we talked about what mares were. The king Diomedes had four mares which he trained to eat human flesh. Diomedes would give his enemies to the horses. Heracles fed Diomedes to his own horses, thus pacifying them as he took them to Eurystheus. Task 9, Hippolytes' girdle. Hippolytes' girdle. Heracles had to travel to the land of the Amazons to retrieve the belt of their leader for Eurystheus' daughter. Hippolyte gave Heracles the belt with no trouble, but Hera spread a rumor that he had killed Hippolyte. Heracles had to fight off the Amazons to escape with his life and the belt. All right, here's another interactive PowerPoint or interactive slide, and it says, think of a question your classmates might have about the lesson so far. So then the students have to think outside the box about, okay, what might my neighbor be struggling with? Or what just may be something that they wonder. And they would put plenty of questions up, ask me different things, and I would kind of stop, pause, we would talk about the different questions, and then we would go from there. Task 10, the cattle of Geryon. Geryon was a monster with 3 heads and 3 bodies. His cattle was the most beautiful in all the world. To find Geryon's island, Heracles makes the Strait of Gibraltar, the Pillars of Heracles. Heracles killed Geryon with his club and returned to Greece with the cattle. Task 11, the apples of Hesperides. The apples were given to Hera as a wedding present. They were kept on an island and guarded by the many-headed dragon. In his search for the island, he comes across Atlas, and we'll stop here and talk about Atlas, who Atlas was. He had to hold up the world and why he had to do it. Atlas agreed to get the apples if Heracles would hold the world. Heracles held the world while Atlas went to get the apples. When he returned, Atlas did not want to hold the world again. Heracles told Atlas to hold it long enough for him to fetch a cushion for his shoulders. When Atlas took the world back, Heracles took the apples and ran. Task 12, the capture of Cerberus. We will stop here and talk about who Cerberus was. A lot of my students already knew, or they know because we had talked about it, or they knew from just prior knowledge. Of course, Cerberus is the 3-headed dog who guarded the underworld. It says the king ordered Heracles to go to Hades and return with Cerberus. Heracles intimidated Charon, and we talk about who Charon was. He's the ferryman to get across the river Styx, and what the river Styx is, separates life from death. He intimidated Charon to take him across the river Styx. Heracles then asked permission from Hades to take Cerberus. Hades agrees on the condition that Heracles has to beat the creature in hand-to-hand combat. Heracles is victorious and takes the animal back to Eurystheus. Thus ends his 12 labors and his penance. Okay, so after the PowerPoint and like I said, or the presentation, like I said, all of this, the students will have their own Chromebooks and they will be looking at going through this as I'm going through it and interacting with me as I'm doing it. So that's the technological aspect. And for the end of class, I did a kind of breakout activity, if you will. I did an escape room in class, and it had to do with Hercules and the 12 labors. So it says, step one, for this activity, you will step one, read over the handout given to you labeled the 12 labors of Hercules. Step two, with your group, walk around the room and fill in the puzzle sheet given to each of you. Use the highlighted clues given around the room. So what I did was I gave them a handout with, because I know you just can't memorize facts like that. So I gave them a handout with the information that I had just gone over with them in class. Then I had them divided into groups. I would divide them into groups. I put their groups on the board, and I would have them walk around the room, different places. I had these different color coded codes in cardstock all around the room, and they had to look all around the room and try to figure these different puzzles out and try to figure out, okay, that's the mares of Diomedes, or okay, that's Hippolytes' girdle, or whatever the case may be. So step three, it says the first group to bring me the puzzle answer wins a prize from the treasure chest. And of course, I had a treasure chest and I had it filled with, I think, some type of candy or something. It says if you finish early, work with the peer and help them finish the activity. So a lot of them didn't finish early. A lot of them would finish right on time, or I would have to go into the next class period for them to finish. So it worked out really well. So this is me, in case you don't remember what I look like. I know you have a lot of students. Again, I'm Ivy Patterson. I apologize for not having a video, but like I said, I tried to go get a web camera. Walmart is crazy. It's just a crazy time. So this was the mythology escape room that I did in my classroom. If you'll notice, there are these color coded cardstock pieces around the room. I wish I would have, if I would have known I was doing this for this presentation, I would have gotten a lot closer to the actual um, card so you could have an example of what they look like. But they're just different codes on them, and they had to walk around the room with their puzzle pieces and fill in the different puzzles. And this is just another example of the escape room. Just another example. I had them all around the room. And of course, you see their Chromebooks on the table. So, they were using technology. They were using their Chromebooks. They were being interactive with that as well. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. Like I said, the times are crazy right now. I apologize for not having the video, but I did the best I could with what I was offered at this hectic time. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.